Well. My mama said there'd be days like this, but she
Yeah,
did not tell me about YouTube streaming difficulties. So,
I
with
feel.
that being said,
Can you hear me now?
that's a no pun intended on that one. Can you hear us now? Can you hear the intro? Hey, Michael, welcome back in. Eric will be back in here soon, I'm sure. Let's get this show going.
Absolutely.
Man, all right. Difficulties are a thing. Another difficulty we have today is a third teammate being on the road. Sam is on the road. Let's wish her traveling grace. I'm your man, Jimmy J's hair. That is,
I am Landry's legend.
and we are going to fan responsibly on this Thursday evening. Welcome in with us. We've got a good show lined up. So let's get the game plan going. Let's run down what we're going to do today before we get kicked off. Okay. We're gonna kick it off. So what we're gonna do? Quick little fun fact: we're gonna next week starts a brand new kickoff segment, right? So the kickoff is actually going to turn into something. Stay tuned in. We're going to run the depth chart series today. Coach and I, we're going to talk about the tight ends. We have to. Then we're going to do some chat boxing where you guys are going to come in. You're going to maybe send us some topics for next week. You're going to let us know what you're thinking about the topics today and just have some fun chatting with us, right? Then, of course, we'll take a little halftime. We'll grab us a refreshment. I know I'm going to need one after these struggles before going live today. And then we're going to give you some game day tips for if you're ever live at AT&T Stadium, or maybe even some game day tips around the house to make, hype up the game a little bit. And then we'll give you some updates. I think, I'll probably do that. I'll tell you a little bit about what's coming. And then Landry, or did you give last week's 2 minute spill,
I
Landry?
did. I did.
You did. Okay. Well, then coach will take it. I'll take it today. Jimmy's got you. I'll give you the 2 minute spiel. And with that being said, let's get this thing going.
I'm a fan of the star we are.
What's up, everybody? I'm Super Cowboy.
And I'm Princess Angie, and you are tuned in to The Star We Are.
Hi, this is Jane Slater, and you are listening to The Star We Are.
Plugged in and switched on. This is The Star We Are,
Live and ready to take a dive right into this depth chart on the tight end side of the ball. The tie, not the loose ends. We got to tie up all the loose ends. We got to make sure our ends are real tight around here because that's going to be an important thing for Dak Prescott. It's going to be an important thing for this run game. And so what we'll kind of do is coach and I and do it along and chat with us is we're going to give our top three who we think fill out this tight end room. And then we'll just kind of talk about it and think how it's going to be used this season. And so for you, coach, where are you at on this one? Because I know a lot of people are saying Schoon's going to lose his job. We got Jeremy Stevens. I'm not sure Brevin Spanfor. What's the mix here? Is Jake Ferguson going to be fully
So
back and look like the old Ferguson?
I thought today we might have kind of just a discussion about it instead of
Mhm.
just necessarily putting R1, 2, 3 because the tight end room is a
Okay.
lot more solidified, and I honestly think we might come to a conclusion that we agree on between the two of them. I really do think Jake Ferguson's number one, right? We just put Jake Ferguson on the board there with a ding. Bing.
Yeah, I think we can easily say that, especially from a pass catching perspective, right? I won't sit here and say that he's the best necessarily run blocking tight end on the team, but as far as overall package, yeah, he's our tight end numero
All right.
uno. Sure.
Jake Ferguson's tight end number one. He's made a Pro Bowl. He's had a couple injuries. It's a kind of a crucial time in his career, I guess. So, it-
Yeah, definitely a year to earn a contract year they like to call it, right? Like go out and get you some money. This can be the year you go get you a payday, and so and this can be the year that tells whether you play for the Cowboys next year.
so then we'll do
So
this. I'll get rid of Jake Ferguson and I'll let you go with number two, and then see if I agree.
I know I'm here. Hey, evening, Jeff. We got Jeff in the building. How you doing, sir?
What's up, Jeff?
So, you know, I know I hear the Brevin Spanford talk, taking Luke's job, taking Schoonmaker's job, but I really feel like, especially for the tight end blocking aspect, or for the blocking tight end that we drafted Schoonmaker to be, I think you can take a second year jump. I think he's going to get some.
Third year.
This is a third year, okay. So this will be his first year with Scott Riley, just like all our offensive linemen. So what we're doing to build our offensive linemen and the coaches we've hired to do that, I think Luke Schoonmaker has a really, really high chance of getting, rubbed off on, for lack of better words, from these coaches and become a really, really good pass blocker. and run blocker. So while Brevin Spanford might be the size and might be a little faster and quicker on his feet with route running, I don't know if he's going to outblock Schoon and be able to take enough snaps from him. Now, I could see a Jake Ferguson obviously getting the bulk of the share, being out there as much as tight end one can be out there, and then maybe a split with Schoon and Spanford. But I would still lean a little toward Schoonmaker being the better blocker at this point. Now, obviously, camp will tell us some things as we get rolling. So be on the lookout there. And then so obviously there we go with kind of tight end 3, right? We've got to talk. Is it Spanford? I think that's another one that I think we can all agree on.
So
Jeremy Stevens Jr., the other
right,
guy. I
so
don't know if they're coming up.
that's what I was gonna say, and for whatever reason, I'm still having trouble today. But I was trying to show you Luke Schoonmaker there. I'm in the same boat. Luke Schoonmaker's got to be depth chart number 2 because of what he can do, because of his total package, mainly because of the blocking aspect. So it's like I've got Schoonmaker number 2 on the depth chart, and then Brevin Spanford potentially having more snaps or receiving yards than Luke Schoonmaker does.
Okay.
Right, but he doesn't usurp him on the depth chart. That's what I got.
That's fair. Yeah, no. That I could see something like that. I mean, Jeff said, and I believe he's talking about Schoonmaker when he says it here, is it wasn't great last year. Or actually, for his words and Jeff's words, he was horrible last year. So I believe we're talking about about Schoonmaker. Yeah, there was there was games and times where our entire team played horrible. We got our quarterback screaming, "We effing suck" on the sideline. We got Micah upset when guys are fumbling balls that you're not even supposed to touch, in a game that you're supposed to win against, who is it, the Bengals, right?
Oh, yeah, you're talking about the Leon Lett number 2? Yeah.
Just don't touch the punt. Leave it alone, Leon.
Supposed to know.
So, yeah, I don't see another tight end. I think you can be comfortable with those 3 being your starting tight ends,
well,
like I said.
then Jeremy, you said, who did you say? Did you just say
Jeremy Stevens Jr. and Chad, you guys can double check me on that. I believe he's still on the squad.
So that's a real question mark for me, because like he has performed in the preseason multiple years. One year he gets hurt before I guess both years, right? He gets hurt before the season. He hasn't gotten to play in the regular season, I don't think at all. If not, he may have been active week 1 last year before he was hurt. Can't remember exactly. Has shown promise, but there's no way you could rank him above anybody on this list.
No, kind of, reminds me of a recent Rico Gathers that we had on the team. Just the kind of guy who stuck around for maybe a couple of years longer than he even should have stuck around, but just couldn't really earn the playing time, right? Obviously, we thought he could be a red zone threat, stuff like that. He had played a little ball. Rico Gathers didn't, so he was a taller, like a 6'8", 6'9" tight end or something like that. So we thought we could use him in that aspect, and he just couldn't get on the field. It takes a little speed, and you definitely got to have some blocking savvy as well. So I think that wraps up the tight ends. And again, thank you guys for being with us today. Make sure you smash that like. Make sure you subscribe. Turn on the notifications. Go follow us on all your socials. It's the Star We Are. Are you? And so as we roll through this show, again, we'll wish our teammate some traveling grace. She's on the word. Usually we have some Sammy news, which is one of my favorite segments because it's where I get my news. And so unfortunately, we don't have any news today. We just got some old guys giving you some football talk. And okay, that was good. Had 4 touchdowns. Ferguson had 0. Okay, yeah. So Jeff is saying Ferguson was garbage last year, and some people are attributing that to his injury he was coming off of. I don't know.
Maybe we need to look at tight end. I don't know what's left. I don't know if there's anything left out there though. So
yeah, and we'll see. No, he definitely needs an improvement. You're right, Jeff. From last year, he has to be better, and that's kind of what when we started saying. He's obviously tight end 1. This is obviously a year where he can either lose his worth or prove his worth, right? And so it'll be interesting to see, and we will see, because the season is coming up on us very quick, but we are in the dog days of summer, as they say in baseball, literally, because this is the time when only the middle of the baseball season is going. There's not much else to do. So go watch last week's episode, because we know you're bored right now. Go watch last week's episode when you're done with this one.
And we know you watched Jake Paul fight, because apparently everybody did. I think it might have had one of the highest pay-per-view buys ever. Something we told you to do last week, and the Gold Cup, which we mentioned last week, which the U.S. on fire, headed to the finals on Sunday. Y'all figure out how to like soccer if you don't already. We need to support it. Okay, so I've got to I've got to add our checkbox in here from the mishap we had earlier.